Hi guys, holy moly, these Zern problems are really tricky today, right? So I want to just make a quick video to talk about how to do some of these. So a lot of these problems are talking about area, and we know that, just try to move this a little closer. We know that when you find the area, to find the area of something, area meaning like this whole middle section, you multiply the two sides, the length times the width. So let's, I'm looking at Zer now, I'm saying this is one of the problems. So we would multiply 2.5 times 1 3/4. So the tricky thing is multiplying mixed numbers, which is not something we learned before we left school. We learned how to multiply fractions, right? You just multiply the tops and the bottoms. But if it's a mixed number, it would be more complicated. You have to multiply the whole number by each of these pieces and then the fraction by each of these pieces and then put it all together. Or a really easy way is just to turn these into improper fractions. So 2.5, we're just going to make it all halves. We want them all halves. So 2 wholes, think about 2 whole pizza pies. Here's 2 whole pizza pies and then a half a pizza. 2.5. How many halves is that? How many halves? So if I were to make all halves, in every whole there's 2 halves. So 2 halves here, 2 halves here, and an extra half. So altogether that's 5 halves. Okay, and then so 1 3/4. In every whole there's 4/4 plus these 3/4. So we have 4/4 and 3/4. Altogether that's 7/4. So now this is a much friendlier problem. We can multiply our numerators. 5 times 7 is 35, 2 times 4 is 8, and all then we have to do is turn this back into a mixed number. How many times does 8 go into 35? 4 times. Right, so when you think about it, it's 35 divided by 8, and that's 32. So that would be 3/8 left over. Okay, so 8 goes into 35 4 times because that's 32, and it's 3/8 left over. So that is how you would multiply mixed numbers. I want to show you one more because it looks like Zern is also trying to be super tricky and saying things like this. So like saying this is someone's backyard and then this is the area of their pool, and they're saying they want to do grass seed all here, and how much grass seed would they need? So if you just did, let's say it was like 3 3/4, and this was like 2 5/6. You can't see that. If I just multiplied these two numbers, that would give me the total area for all of this, which is fine. That's what you want to start with, but then you have to subtract away the area of the pool. So if they tell you that the pool dimensions are like 1.5 times, I don't know, 2.5, I don't know what size pool this would be, you would have to multiply that together to find what's the area of the pool and then subtract it away from the area of the whole backyard. So again, the same thing that you would do is you'd have to turn these into mixed numbers. 1.5 is the same as 3 halves. 2.5 is the same as 5 halves. When you multiply straight across, you'd get 15/4. How many times does 4 go into 15? 3, because that's 12. And that would be 3/4 left over. So that's the area of your pool. Make sure you label everything. That's super important to keep yourself organized. That would be the area of the pool. And then when you did this one, let's say 2 5/6 times 3 3/4. So 2 5/6, turning that into a mixed number. One whole has, we're talking about 6, right? There are 6 sixths in one whole and 12 sixths in 2 wholes. So plus the 5. So 12 6 plus the 5 6 is 17 6 times, over here we're doing, this would be 15/4. Sometimes these numbers get big and they get tricky, so I'm going to have to do 17 times 15. That's not something I can do in my head, so I'm going to have to work it out over here on the side. 17 times 15 is 255. That's going to happen sometimes. You're going to end up with big numbers, sometimes in the hundreds, sometimes in the thousands. 6 times 4 is 24. And now I'm going to subtract divide. 255 divided by 24. Again, that's not something I can do in my head. So I'm going to have to use long division. 24 goes into 25 one time with 1 left over. 24 can't go into 15, that's 0. So I'd have 15 24ths left over, so the answer would be 10 and 15 24ths. Now that's the area of the whole lawn, right? So then I'd have to do the lawn, this number, subtracted by the pool area to find out just the area that he's going to need grass seed for. He doesn't want to put grass seed in the pool. We got to subtract that part away from the total lawn amount. So that's the total lawn, subtract away the pool, and that would be your answer for the grass seed amount. So I hope this video helps in just that when you're multiplying mixed numbers, turn them into improper fractions, multiply, multiply. Even if your numbers get big, that's going to happen. That's fine. Just go slow and check your work. And for something like this, you could even use a calculator. That, it doesn't that doesn't bother me. You're not cheating. You're not using a calculator to get your answer. To do some of this bigger math work, it's totally fine if you want to use a calculator, because these problems are really tricky and complex. And the big learning here is not about multiplying a 2-digit by 2-digit. The big learning is about how to find, the area of this and subtract the area of that. So if you're using a calculator to help you with some of the bigger numbers, that's totally, totally fine. All right, I hope that helps, and I'll talk to you all soon. Miss you.